What's going on, YouTube? While sometimes overshadowed by its bigger brother Acura MDX sibling, this RDX remains a popular choice among those looking for a value-packed luxury SUV. And following its recent refresh last year, we want to know if this RDX is still a great choice in 2026 among its big rivals like the Lexus NX and Genesis GV70. Let's go ahead and find out.
Let's start things out under the hood with a quick spec dump. So you're going to have a standard 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder making 272 horsepower. Power is routed to the ground via a 10-speed automatic transmission and standard SH all-wheel drive, and your combined fuel economy is 23 mpg.
Now, the base price of the RDX in 2026 is around $45,000. And if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, later on, we'll take it out for a spin. We'll get things like our sound level reading, as well as talk about things like driving dynamics.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because we have a lot to talk about when it comes to this RDX's exterior as well as the interior. So as Mason was saying in the introduction, this RDX was refreshed just last year, which means it added some of the more recent Acura design elements. Let's break down some of those on this advanced trim that we have today. First of all, you do have the latest Acura Diamond Pentagon grille in its new frameless configuration here on this model today. It's mostly blacked out, though you have the very big Acura badge here in the middle. And down here at the lower fascia, you're gonna have a mostly body color for this advanced trim. You still can get the a-spec as well, which is gonna dial up the sportiness, add some more blacked out elements as well. And then as far as your headlights go, you're in a very premium unit as standard equipment. It is full LED with things like your chicane LED daytime running light, as well as the individual crystal elements. And then down here on this model, you also have LED fog lamps and some chrome accenting. As far as the wheels are concerned, you're gonna have a standard 19-inch alloy, and that includes this advanced model that we have right here. You can go up to a 20-inch option, but you do have to choose the sportier a-spec model. And then moving up to the mirrors, you have a body color finish here on the Advance. You have standard heating and blind spot monitoring, and then on the Advanced models, you can get power folding as well as auto dimming on the driver and the passenger side.
Now, at the side of the RDX, overall vehicle length is 187.4 inches, which is a good size for this segment. And let's talk design touches. So you will notice that we have a little bit of chrome up here at the top. The bottom part of the windows are blacked out, and surprisingly, we actually don't have roof rails on this Advance trim level. Now, one thing that we do have on the Advance is all of the body color lower moldings. That was something that they added last year to the RDX, and I think that really spices up the design and makes it look a lot more premium, especially compared to some of the rivals, which are not including those body color lower moldings. Now, as we head around to the rear design, it's your classic RDX look. Now, they haven't really changed a lot when it comes to this look in the past several years, but overall, I think it's aging quite well. So we have a spoiler up here at the top, we have a rear window wiper, and then overall, a pretty sporty design back here. Our taillights are also going to be pretty nice. So we have an LED brake light, LED reverse light. However, we do still have the incandescent turn signal. I wish they would go ahead and update that to an LED. And then dropping down to the lower fascia, once again, all of this is body color. We also have dual integrated exhaust outlets, which look quite nice. 1,500 pounds is your maximum tow capacity. Now, one thing I'm really happy to tell you about the RDX as compared to maybe some of the German rivals is that you're getting all 4 active safety features as standard equipment, which will include things like adaptive cruise control. Additionally, if you choose the Tech trim and above, that will give you things like low-speed front and rear auto braking. But there's quite a bit to talk about on the inside and what value you're going to get in there. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12 and 16. We started young, and since then, we have reviewed over 2,000 vehicles at every price point. No matter what you're looking for, from humble to high-end, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, let's go ahead and begin the interior tour for this RDX. Starting out with your key fob, you're gonna have the standard Acura key fob. It's a very nice feeling key fob. You have standard smart entry, remote start is for your advanced models only. That means I can walk up to the door here, put my hand behind the door handle, and it will go ahead and unlock and fold out your mirrors as well. But go ahead and get a good look of the interior for this RDX. It's a really luxurious place to be, starting with the seat. So let's go ahead and break down your materials and color options. So you're gonna have a standard leatherette seat, but when you upgrade to one of the advanced models, you're gonna have a full Milano leather seat with a really nice intricate design. You have the contrast piping, the perforations as well. It's a really nice looking seat as well as very comfortable to sit in. Standard is 12 ways of power adjusting, but when you go up to the advanced model, you get 16 ways of power adjustment. Just note that there is no massage like some of the other rivals offer. You have standard memory seats as well, and let's go ahead and climb on inside and talk about the rest of the interior. And as we shut up the door, you get a nice little animation on your gauge cluster. Let's go ahead and talk about the rest of your interior materials. I think you're going to be quite impressed. So starting over here on your door panel, everything's going to be fully leather wrapped, going up all the way through the door trim. And then you have some soft touch plastic here on your upper door trim, as well as some wood trim through the door that looks really nice, contrast well with this espresso color we have. And then all throughout the rest of the upper dash, mostly everything is going to be a soft touch plastic as well. More leatherette detailing with contrast stitching, more wood trim, and then even some leatherette wrapping through most of your center console area, Everything is going to be fit together really well. And even though there's not any significant changes for 2026 itself, what remains is a really solidly built interior that will even rival some of its newest German rivals. But let's go ahead and start it up with your standard push button start. Once everything is fired up, we can go ahead and start talking about your technology for the RDX, and that starts out with your gauge cluster. So this is where you can tell the age a little bit. This does have a standard 7-inch digital gauge cluster with traditional analog gauges surrounding it. It's still a pretty nice look overall. It's pretty sporty looking, and you have some customization that you can add in, but there's not a fully digital one available. But on the advanced models, you do still have a 10.5-inch head-up display. It looks nice, and you can put a lot of different information into it. Moving back, you have a standard leather-wrapped steering wheel. You have heating on your advanced models, and all of them are going to be manual adjusting. Power adjusting is not an option for the RDX. One thing that did change last year, though, is your center console area, which allows a lot more storage than ever before. You have some larger cup holders, but you start out with your center console itself. When I open this up, you can see we have donuts inside because here at Car Confections, we do the signature donut test because that is our logo to test center console volume. Today, we're going to have 9 donuts, which is not segment leading by any means, but it can still beat out some of its German rivals. As I said, you do have bigger cup holders as well as easier access to your wireless charger, which is on the tech model and above. But what is really rare for this segment is this center pass-through. This is really a ton of additional storage. You can even put things like a small purse in here. So really a nice thing to see on this RDX. Moving up to our shifter, you have a push button shifter, so you just press D for drive. You do have some paddle shifters up here if you want to click it into your sport mode. And then when you pull back for reverse, you will have a 360 camera. This is on your advanced models and above, and I wish it did take up more of the screen, and it is really only taking up about half of it. But then down here, you just push the P for park. Continuing on with our interior tour, you head up here to your physical climate controls. I am glad that they are still physical buttons. That is a nice thing to see. Starting down here, you have buttons for your standard heated seats, and then your ventilated seats are on the A-spec and above. And then you have a standard dual zone setup with, like I said, more physical controls, which is really nice to see. And another physical control you have is your volume knob. So on this advanced trim level, you're gonna have a 16-speaker ELS Studio sound system, and let's go ahead and give that a sample. Very, very, very impressive, guys. ELS is really a great partner to this overall packaging. I have an ELS on my very own TLX A-spec, and it is really impressive audio quality. You won't be disappointed with this system. And finally, let's go ahead and talk about your display here. It's going to be a 10.2-inch display. While it may look like it can, it is not a touchscreen. I'm going to have Mason move down here to where I have the touchpad to where I actually do all of my screen functions. It works all right. I do wish it was a touchscreen at the end of the day. They even have a little bit of room to just move it forward. But you can run things like wireless CarPlay and Android Auto on the system, and you have all of the functionality that you would expect. Moving up top, you have a standard auto-dimming mirror, and then if you keep on moving up, you also have a standard panoramic sunroof. It does have your front panel that does open up as well, which is becoming more of a rare feature in this segment.
And now let's talk about the rear seats of the Acura RDX. So first and foremost, let's talk about space. So we're sitting at 38 inches of both leg and headroom. Those are solid figures for this segment of vehicle. It's very similar to most of its rivals like the BMW X3, Genesis GV70. Lexus NX is actually a little bit smaller than this. And of course, I brought along the official Car Confections ruler. Now the reason I do that is so we can get a realistic knee room figure. This seat is adjusted to my own 5'9" driving position, and as you can see, we have about 8.5 inches of knee space. Like I said, I am 5'9", so plenty of room for your average size adults, and then down below, my feet can slide up underneath of these seats. Now these seats I do find to be really comfortable. They have a lot of squish to them. They're the same premium leather as in the front. However, they don't recline, which is something I'm a little disappointed in. The Honda CR-V has like 8 stages of recline, so I wish they would just kind of throw that here on the RDX as well. If we fold down the center armrest, we have 2 cup holders inside, and then let's talk about some other features. We have vents here in the center section. We have 2 USB-C ports down below, and the advanced models will add the rear seat heating, so that's certainly pretty nice. Now, let's go ahead and look at the door trim as well. Nicely done door trim. We have soft touch plastic on the upper part, leatherette all through the center section, real metal on our speaker grills. I really like that touch. And then down below, we even have a little bit of door storage. Walking up to the tailgate, you have a standard power one on every single RDX. And then if you want the hands-free ability, that will be included on your advanced versions and above. Now, let's go ahead and talk about overall cargo capacity with the RDX. So when it comes to this, just like the rear seats, you have some pretty good numbers, about 29.5 cubic feet behind the second row of seats and 59 cubic feet as a maximum. Now, those, like I said, are pretty good numbers for the segment. They're not going to be exactly class-leading. The new BMW X3 does have about 10 more cubic feet as a maximum than this, but it's very much on par with GLC as well as the GV70. And speaking of all those rivals, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. We've looked at all the luxury compact SUVs on the market, and we've ranked them in the 10 most important categories to you all. So things like cargo space, interior technology, luxury features, powertrain, drive experience are all there detailed for you. So if you want to make an informed buying decision, definitely utilize our tool on our website, carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, back to the RDX. When it comes to features, I'm happy to tell you we do have handles to fold the seats down. Now, as you can see, it might have to give them a little bit of a help to get folded, but they do fold 60-40 split, and they do go completely flat with the floor. Let's go ahead and get our cargo length, width, and height figures as well. As far as cargo length behind my very own 5'9" driving position, 74 inches of overall length. That's pretty good. From behind the second row of seats, 38 inches of length. As far as the opening, 43 inches wide, and height, 30 inches tall. So those are all pretty respectable numbers. And load-in height is 29 inches, so that's also quite good. Now, if we lift up the cargo floor, there's actually quite a lot of extra space up underneath of here, and there is a spare tire as well on the RDX. So, a lot of the rivals honestly are deleting that feature, so I'm happy that the RDX has that. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2026 Acura RDX. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading going 55 miles per hour, so you can see how quiet this cabin is. But first, we need to start with a hard acceleration. All right.
Very nice.
There's a quick acceleration up to around 60 miles per hour. here in the Acura RDX. Now, as you could tell from that acceleration, certainly it's a pretty quick, option, and this is, the standard engine choice that you get with the RDX. So I'm pretty happy to tell you that you have this 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder on board. It makes 272 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque, and, as you could see from that acceleration there, really the torque pushes you back in your seat. Yeah, and those are, quite frankly, pretty healthy power numbers for this segment. Now, typically with the German rivals, you're going to be getting around, 255 horsepower as your standard engine option, so this is a significant upgrade over that. Now, you're not going to have any mild hybrid or anything on board, but overall, it seems pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it pumps a really good sound into the cabin as well. And when it comes to things, if you're comparing with like the Lexus NX as well, this is going to be tuned to feel a little bit more lively. Honda really does well in making this 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder shine.
All right, so there was a more normal acceleration there, and that demonstrates the smoothness of this 10-speed automatic transmission on board. Now, all RDXs will have this transmission. It's a good partner to this 2-liter engine. It shifts through the gears very smoothly, and, of course, 10 gears does give you the, ability to have a lot of choices for the transmission, so you can really get the power exactly how you need it.
Yeah, and it really doesn't seem to ever get too confused, which is a nice thing to see. Another thing all RDXs are going to have is standard SH all-wheel drive, so you're not going to have to pay any extra for that option, and that just means you're going to have one main fuel economy figure. You're going to be sitting at 23 mpg combined for all of your models. The only thing is, if you get one of the a-spec models with the larger wheels, it will drop down your highway fuel economy figure just by 1.
That was a sport mode acceleration, and I'll go ahead and toggle it back into the normal mode for our sound level reading. We have it on fan speed 1, and our ventilated seats are off, so we can see how quiet this cabin is.
Very good. We're going to settle in at 55.4 decibels for this 26 RDX. And I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to its many rivals. I'll go to carconfections.com/sound level readings to find that out. Now, that was a pretty good sound level reading overall, definitely on the quieter end of things. Just know this is a really competitive segment. So German options like the GLC and the X3, and not to mention the GV70 as well, they're going to be pumping out some of the quietest readings all across the auto industry. So this RDX has a lot of stiff competition.
It does indeed. It's certainly a pretty quiet cabin, but like Josh said, it's definitely a little stiff on the competition front. Now, I did toggle us into the sport mode just a second ago, and I can't wait to toggle us back and we can get out of traffic here and talk a little bit about dynamics with this model. Before we kind of start moving here, I do want to point out that when you choose an advanced model, that's going to give you the adaptive suspension. So it's not just throttle and steering feel that's different. They do actually change the suspension if you get one of the higher end RDXs. So we'll talk a little bit about how that affects overall dynamics. All right. Rounding that corner here, of course, we are here in the city, so we don't have a ton of back roads to drive on, but even in the city, you can tell that this RDX is one of the sportier options in the segment, honestly, which is kind of surprising for this model. But, time and time again, we've been impressed with its dynamics. The steering has really nice feel. It is very responsive. And, overall, this vehicle has a little bit of a sportier edge, like your typical Honda product. Compared to some of the German rivals, an X3, a GLC, this is really going to be similar to the X3 and sportier than the GLC. The GV70 it's pretty close to as well. So overall, I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised with the dynamics on this car.
And at the end of the day, the RDX is a luxury crossover, so it needs to do well when it comes to ride quality, and you will not be disappointed when it comes to this aspect. Here on the Advanced model, we have the 19-inch alloy wheels, and combined with the adaptive dampers, which not only work for you in sport driving situations, they work for you in comfort driving situations as well. And overall, the ride quality is really phenomenal. The smaller wheels help soak up some of the bumps better. You're not going to feel a lot of road imperfections whatsoever. And overall, it's going to be a really pleasant experience, perfect to be a great road trip companion, especially when you consider how comfortable these seats are.
I love these seats,
Yes.
guys. I will say these are some of the most comfortable seats you can get in the entire segment. All right, let's get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element about the RDX. I'll kick us off with our Slam Dunk and just say that really this product is aging quite well, and it does have a lot of value in this segment. Rivals like the GV70 used to be very value packed, but as the time has gone on, it's kind of risen in price, and this is one of the most affordable options in the luxury compact space, and it honestly has a nice cabin as well, so I think there's a lot to like here in the RDX.
Yeah, and on the Airball side of things, the only thing we don't like about this cabin is going to be this screen.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this touchpad is going to be really hard to use. I live with the 19 TLX on the daily with the old dual screen setup, and even this touchpad is hard for me to get used to. So we wish Acura would just go ahead and add the touchscreen and go ahead and get rid of this touchpad.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really have to be like class leading tech, but if it was just a touchscreen, I think that would make it so much better, Acura. All right, so now we need to talk about pricing, which is unfortunately the only area that did change for 2026, but thankfully it's not by much at all. So for 2026 model year, prices are only going to rise around $400. So really across the board, that is less than most of the rivals are doing price increase-wise. $45,100 is your new base price for 2026. Keep in mind, standard SH all-wheel drive. The tech is $47,700, a-spec $50,700, and then you, of course, end in trim levels like this Advance. That's what we have today, the 26 RDX Advance, $52,850. We have $600 for paint, $1,350 destination, $54,800 is what we're sitting at. That is less than most of the rivals, especially fully loaded up. And then if you look over here on the side, this vehicle is assembled here in Ohio, so actually not too far from here. If you're looking to buy an Acura RDX or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use while dealer negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of all of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that in our video description, as well as a pinned comment down below. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's discuss resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Acura RDX's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 49.95% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 21.04%. Now, it's worth noting those are actually right at the industry average for all vehicle brands, and it is above most of the luxury brands that you would be cross-shopping with, such as the Germans like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and even brands like Genesis.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by creating the Combined Reliability Index, which takes into account a variety of trusted automotive resources and puts it in a way that makes sense. Based on this metric, Acura is rated above the industry average, which is close to being on par with brands such as Lexus and even better than other German rivals.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you do have a pretty good one, and that's an important consideration. 4 year 50,000 miles for your basic warranty, 6 year 70,000 miles for powertrain, and you do also get 1 year and 12,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2026 Acura RDX Advance. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate you subscribing down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family, and we have a lot of fun on this channel and promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. You make this all possible, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.